One. What's up, everyone? This is the World of Lifting podcast. This is our fourth episode. We are back again with a pre-vet student from Cornell, Tim Wu. So what's up?
Hey.
Yeah, so today on the docket we have nutrition for powerlifting and powerlifting technique. So we're going to start with nutrition. Basic knowledge, the macronutrients, the micronutrients, electrolytes. I forgot what macros were, but I think it's the fats, protein, and carbs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And each one plays an important role in the nutrition for a lifter. All of them are very important. But we see all these fad diets like fat-free, carb-free, no sugar. But yeah.
You got like vegan, and then like the guys who are like, fuck the vegans and go full on carnivore.
Yeah, well, that's controversial too. We obviously have a lot of athletes out there that are very successful in the lifting world that are vegan. More so, I see a lot more successful vegans than I don't know about carnivores. I have no idea. I haven't done research on that much.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know if Okay, this might be a little bit controversial. I don't really think carnivore is the best thing for your health. Just gonna put that out there.
Yeah, I'm not sure either, but I haven't tried it, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But I don't know. This is based on what I've seen in the nutrition for red meat. Because red meat, there's a good amount of saturated fat in there. There's a good amount of cholesterol. And eating that every day, breakfast, lunch, dinner. I mean, who knows? I have no idea. I would imagine it's a lot unhealthier.
Actually, cholesterol doesn't seem to be so heavily diet based. It seems to be largely genetic.
Like triglycerides and all that?
Yeah, your lipid profile in your blood tends to be very heavily influenced by your genetics rather than your actual diet. If you
eat at McDonald's like breakfast, lunch, dinner, I would imagine it would have an effect.
I think more sodium has an effect on blood pressure, but honestly, cholesterol you don't really see a lot, unless it's like, this is according to I think Harvard Med School put out a something about it, but it's a website on the Harvard Med School page. But essentially, it seems to be largely genetic, although there still is a lot of debate to that.
I mean, if it's
well, I mean,
still like I would still think that diet would still have a big play in there.
Well, you also have to realize like things like micronutrients and also things that just aren't good for you. For example, gout. You can end up getting gout from eating too much like red meat or like shitty quality food. I think I don't exactly know what causes gout. I think it's like something acid. It's like an acid of some sort that you find in food.
Isn't gout like a big ass mass in your neck or something?
No, that's goiter.
Oh, that's a goiter? So what's gout?
Gout is just like really, really painful arthritis.
God.
It's uric acid. But yeah, actually, funnily enough, gout, historically speaking, was considered a rich man's disease because only the wealthy could afford so much meat that they would end up getting gout.
Wait, but arthritis is the joints, right?
Arthritis is joints.
What in the red meat would?
It's uric acid. It crystallizes and deposits on your joints.
Oh, uric acid is in red meat?
I don't know if it's in red meat, but I know it's in a lot of meats, like a lot of like just what you would consider unhealthy food in general. Like I know there are certain things, like certain seafoods have a lot of uric acid, which you got to be careful of. But generally speaking, it's like unhealthy, like fatty meats that generally have a lot of uric acid.
So what if you go to like a steakhouse?
I mean, like honestly, just vary your diet. It doesn't really matter too much. It's got to be to the point where you completely neglect health.
Oh, just straight up meat, like no veggies, no nothing.
Yeah, just be like, fuck it, throwing this shit out the window. Gonna eat fucking chicken nuggets every day. I'm sorry, there's a dog in the background going a little ham, but I don't know if you can hear that.
So now we move on to micronutrients. On the other hand, that's the littler stuff. That's like your vitamins, I think.
Yeah, vitamins and minerals. Generally, you shouldn't get too worried about that stuff. Most people will have deficiencies. but it won't be they'll be deficient, but they won't be like it won't be bad, generally speaking. Like you won't be like you won't notice a lot of the effects. Like you may not be eating enough, you may not be getting enough, but in reality that doesn't make too much of a difference. Honestly, it's probably worse to worry too much about that stuff because a lot of the times you can end up taking vitamins and minerals supplements to like make up for that, and you can end up getting too much, and that's much worse for sure.
Yeah, the big ones that I've seen in the U.S. because the U.S. is largely a very sedentary lifestyle, very obese.
Oh yeah, vitamin D
People
for sure is a
vitamin
big
D
thing.
and I know zinc is a big problem too.
Yeah, zinc is just generally hard to come by. Like generally, not a whole ton of foods have it.
Yeah, I
Um,
want that shellfish have a lot of it.
if females generally speaking have a harder time with iron, although guys in the U.S. generally have too much iron because we have like a very high red meat diet. Um,
Oh, is in red meat as well. I forgot about that.
Iron is in red meat, yeah. But the thing with iron is that you can get it. It sucks, but in reality, like you very unlikely to notice that you have too much iron.
Well, I know iron deficiencies is is it like a dizziness thing? Like if you get up too fast, you feel that rush.
It results in anemia. So yeah,
Oh God, that's not good.
if you like get up too fast, you'll be dizzy. Your extremities will be cold. Just general shit like that. Lower energy. Less cardiovascular fitness. Stuff like that. You'll notice. But yeah. I mean, like, also another thing is like I generally don't recommend taking multivitamins because multivitamins, you have different absorbences for that kind of stuff. So like, certain, I don't know. For example, like, I think magnesium oxide has very low absorbency, whereas, for example, vitamin D has very good absorbency. The technical word for it is bioavailability, like your the amount of it that's available for your body to use.
Oh, okay. So your body will destroy like most of the pill for
No,
like
you just shit it
90 minutes.
out.
Oh, okay. So you just release it.
Yeah,
Okay.
it just doesn't get absorbed.
Okay. So you said vitamin D has a good
Yeah,
bioavailability.
vitamin D is generally all the same chemical. It's generally all cholecalciferol, I think. Um,
Yeah. D3 is yeah, Coca-Cola calciferol. Yeah. And then they whatever they put in the capsule form and whatnot.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, moving on. We got electrolytes. Now this is important, especially for
Oh, for
powerlifting.
powerlifting, yeah, for sure, for sure.
I remember during my first meet, I I didn't bring shit. All I brought was like water bottles, and I brought like maybe one protein bar, which I didn't even eat. And I went through the squats fine, and during the bench, during my arch position,
Spazzed out.
my hamstring cramped so
Oh
hard.
yeah.
Like during the lift, oh my God.
Oh yeah, no. Sometimes I get that in training where it's just like I'm like deadlifting too much or I'm like squatting too much, and then like middle of fucking set I'll just get a massive fucking cramp and I'll be like, fuck my life. What did I ever do to deserve this?
Yeah, well, let's see. Well, that people don't usually know what the electrolytes are.
It's like
Uh,
calcium,
because
sodium, chlorine. Wait, actually, is chlorine? I don't think chlorine is. Wait,
you say calcium
yeah,
is calcium an electrolyte?
calcium's an electrolyte. Well, it's
What? That's crazy. I didn't know
actually
that.
it should be an electrolyte. It's used in your nerve impulses, so I would imagine that it would be because
Oh yeah.
really
Well,
what a spasm is like your nerves are firing off too much because they don't
well,
have enough electrolytes to maintain the what's it called, like the charge, the membrane charge.
well, powerlifters. We use this thing called noon tabs,
Oh
and
yeah,
that
I know
usually
what you're talking about. Yeah,
keeps us covered from cramping during
I just
meets,
get
and it keeps us good
I
energy.
usually just
So
get like some Gatorade Zero and like a banana or something. It's just generally all right.
or something that's like I remember one of my friends back in the meet, he brought beef jerky or
Oh
something.
yeah, that works for sure.
Good sodium and
Although
whatnot.
that'll make you dehydrated, which definitely sucks. Dehydration is also another
Yeah.
big issue for that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, dehydration. Well, you're probably at a bigger risk of passing out during a meet,
Yeah.
especially during a nice strain on the
Oh
deadlift. You
yeah.
put that shit down, you just go
No,
lights out.
that's because of the Valsalva maneuver. Valsalva causes like an initial jump in your blood pressure, then a dip down, and then once you stop the Valsalva, you see a sharp increase in blood pressure, and then it normalizes back to normal.
Yeah, you just go lights out,
Yeah,
tunnel vision.
it's the going up and down in the blood pressure that's bad. That's what fucks you up.
You're, you're not passed out for very long, right? Maybe like a
A
couple
couple seconds,
seconds.
yeah, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Actually, it depends on your size too.
Oh,
Yeah, like if you're a 400-pound strong man, you might be passed out for an extra few seconds, but that
yeah,
stuff
yeah.
definitely isn't good for you though. Like passing is definitely not the best for you.
Your body's like resetting. Fuck this.
Yeah, just a system reset. Just like turn off the power button real quick.
All right, so moving on to importance of macronutrients in terms of fats and obvious. Well, the typical American diet, way too much fat, but some fats are good for you,
It's
and we need it. Very
it's
essential.
mainly just American diets just generally have too much fat, too much carbs, and too little protein. Um,
With the combined of like no working out
yeah,
and
of
whatnot,
course.
but that's even worse.
Um,
But yeah, what's the good fats? The
um,
crap.
it's
Trans
like
fat? No, trans fat.
monounsaturated, polyunsaturated. You also have DHA and the other one. I forgot what it was called. DHA and then like EP something.
Okay. All I know is that
EPA.
you get good fats from avocados. That's like the big trend now. Big superfood. Uh, got that
I'm
good
not a
stuff.
big fan of you just using the word superfood because, like,
That's what they
yeah,
call it. I
no
don't know.
food is
I
really
don't know.
like amazing. No food is like really terrible, you know? It's just like all in moderation. Just like make sure you guys get enough of everything. Um, don't go on crash diets. If something seems unhealthy, probably is. Use your brain. That's really it.
Yeah, that's true.
Another thing is like just make sure you get enough fats where you aren't feeling like shit. Fat is a very satiating macronutrient, but it also is the most calorie dense macronutrient. Um,
Oh, it's not
no,
protein?
it's per gram. Protein and carbs are both around 4. Fat per gram is 9. So it's more
Okay.
than
Wow.
double. Although
Yeah, that's
protein, you also have like a cost to digesting it. It's pretty expensive to actually break down and use protein. It's usually I think like 15 to 30 some percent. Um, it's I forgot what it's called, that term, but protein is generally not the best energy source because your body doesn't get a lot of energy from it. It's slow to break down and it's costly to break down. So your body actually generally doesn't want to use protein as like an energy source per se. It's more like fats and carbs, especially if you're a powerlifter. Fats and carbs are your bread and butter, you know?
yeah, protein's like the recovery
Yeah.
nutrient, I guess,
But
right?
the real energy is fats and carbs. And another thing is the energy that you need to be able to build muscle will also be generally fats and carbs. Your body can turn protein into energy in the process called gluconeogenesis. I think it happens in your liver, but it's generally very costly and it's really not something your body wants to do. It's inefficient.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Well, let's see. I'm thinking about Halfthor's diet, or Brian, something like a Brian Shaw, where they're eating what every 2 3 hours, straight up beef, straight up pasta,
Yeah.
while they're training these big
In
weights.
reality, what matters the most is calories in, calories out, you know?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
basic
that's really
principle.
like 99. That's probably like not. That's probably like 90% of your results. 90, like probably like 80 to 90% of your results will come from getting enough calories in and getting the protein that you need in. Other than that, everything else is irrelevant. Basically, it won't really matter too much.
Yeah, well, work ethic as well, like how effective your training
The
is.
huge, the
Like,
huge thing that I should mention is like don't worry too much about that kind of stuff. Like you don't want to end up developing an unhealthy relationship with food. Like, I've had to deal with an unhealthy relationship with food before, and it's not a fun time. And it's really not something that you should get super neurotic about, especially like getting super far into the numbers, getting super far into things. Just make sure you're getting enough of everything, and make sure you're eating like a healthy diet. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's another thing that should be talked about is like people's relationships with food, especially in the bodybuilding, powerlifting, weightlifting.
I mean, um, I don't know if that's so much that big of an issue in lifting, unless we're talking about like wrestlers. Because
Oh,
I was a
wrestlers is the
wrestler at
huge
one
issue.
point,
Yeah,
and I had to make weight, and I had to go like the whole day without eating
yeah.
just to make weight. That
Like
was pretty
we
bad.
think like bodybuilding and stuff is bad. Wrestling and any sport that involves heavy weight cuts, like boxing, it is not a. It's
Yeah,
much worse.
all basically combat
Yeah,
sports out there. It was especially hard because the in combat sports, for at least for high school wrestling at least, the weigh-ins are literally
2 hours, I
like
think.
an hour, like maybe 1 or 2 hours before the match. So you barely have enough time to regain like to
Yeah,
refeed basically. So you're basically going into the match like depleted as fuck.
yeah. Um,
Yeah, that was fun
I
enough.
mean, like honestly, I think my recommendation is just everyone's very different when it comes to diet. Some people are better with a high carb, low fat. Some people are better with high fat, low carb. Some people are better with like an equal amount of the two or somewhere around there. Really, it's just a matter of experimenting and finding what's good for you. And most importantly, it's what's sustainable in the long term. Can you see yourself doing this in 5, 10 years? It's like you don't want to be doing something where it's unsustainable and you feel like you won't be able to keep up for a few months, because in reality strength gains, muscle gains, pretty slow. In order for you to make the best progress, you need to be on the boat for a long time.
Yeah, well then we got freaks like I don't know, generally people that I don't even know anymore. But I all I know is that I had fast progress in terms of
Yeah.
strength. I guess
Oh,
those are the
also like
freaks out there.
you're like a genetic monster, all right? Like that's another thing.
Yeah, this is like yeah.
Genetics of course play a
We got,
huge role. Um but I mean like
what's the number for protein with body weight?
General
Is it
recommendation
like
is 1 gram per pound. Although you can argue all day, all night about like the very like minutia of it, like 0.6 per gram, 1.2 grams per pound of lean body mass. Like in reality, like as long as you're getting enough protein and as long as the protein is like high quality protein, look, like you might be looking at like a 2-3% difference. Really, it's not a big
yeah,
deal.
well, yeah, the protein, but like in terms of vegans, they got I know they got their beans, they got
Vegans
their
vegans
lentils,
have a
they got
harder time because you have to make sure you're getting complete proteins. So I think you have like 8 or 9 essential amino acids that your body cannot produce on its own, so you have to ingest them. A complete protein contains all of those essential amino acids. And for example, leucine is an essential amino acid,
yeah,
and leucine is actually very heavily correlated with your body's like muscle building response. High leucine generally means a higher amount of muscle that you're going to be building. But you also need all the other essential amino acids. A lot of vegan protein sources are incomplete or near incomplete sources of protein, meaning that they have a little bit of some essential amino acids, a lot of others, or like a mix. And it's one of those things where you have to like balance it out to make sure that you're getting a good amount of every essential amino acid.
yeah. Well, like the leucine high foods. Well, we got pretty sure eggs have
Yeah,
leucine
it's
in them.
any meat source has
Uh,
a lot, like any general meat source.
and obviously whey
Oh yeah,
protein
whey
powder.
is the king.
Yeah, yeah. I
I
haven't had
I
whey in a
don't
while,
drink. I
but
don't have protein powder. It's it's something that I'm just not willing to do. I don't like the taste of it.
well, I like the optimum nutrition double
Oh,
chocolate.
I mean, like as far
That's
as
pretty good.
protein powder is concerned, like Quest and Optimum Nutrition are really like where it's at. Like as far as like taste is concerned, in my opinion.
Yeah, I've tried Muscle Farm cookies and cream. That was
Oh
absolutely
my
horrible. That
gosh,
was
dude.
nasty.
Oh, I had like the muscle milk protein powder. Dude, I'd rather just not eat. Like I'd rather just lose my gains.
Yeah, it's disgusting. Yeah, but yeah, but oh yeah, big thing too. Supplements are like they're
Look,
not the end
I mean
all
like
be all,
yeah,
guys.
as
It's
far
not.
as like what you need to build muscle, build strength, it's like train hard, eat clean, sleep well. That's like
Yeah,
95% of your results.
the supplements will help you if you have all of that. If you're just taking protein and because obviously
Yeah.
it's marketing. If you see someone like a Jay Cutler and he poses with his protein, you're like, oh fuck, I gotta look like Jay Cutler. Maybe
Oh,
it's the
they're on a
protein,
different type of
But
supplement.
like, yeah, but yeah, well, obviously, but that's a different. That's our last episode. But
um
yeah, Wait, it's all the subliminal. Is this a subliminal
Yeah. Another
messaging?
thing is
Is that what
like
it's
don't
called?
believe marketing hype. Like really there are very few supplements that really are clinically proven and like scientifically known that will benefit you. Like vitamin D of course will benefit you. Like even fish oil has very little like long-term research on its like efficacy as far as like being able to help with like heart function and stuff like that. Really it's like all generally correlational data.
I know creatine
Creatine
monohydrate is like the
monohydrate
most
is really the big one. Yeah, that
yeah most research
yeah.
supplement out there, I think,
I mean,
and
like
it's pretty
it's
effective, I would
honestly
imagine.
not that effective. Like when you think about it, right? If the supplement isn't banned, it's probably not worth your time. You know,
Well, then like
I mean, like creatine.
I don't know if I gotta look at it like
I mean,
that.
like
Like
if the supplements, like okay, so the supplements you get in your GNC won't do a whole ton. The so-called supplements that you get from like the guy in like the alleyway corner who like opens up his jacket and like sells you needles and shit like that'll definitely do you a lot more, but that'll also kill you. So it's
are we talking about
pick your
toothbrush or
poison.
like fucking like PCP? Whatnot?
I mean, like, dude, when you think about it, right? Who needs pre-workout when you can just snort some cocaine?
Oh my
That'll hype
god,
you up
that's
for a
so funny.
workout.
Oh my god. Oh yeah, what the hell? We were talking about supplements. All right, no, we gotta go back. So we talked about carbs.
Oh,
Oh, carbs. Carbs is important too. We're talking about rice. We're talking about potatoes. Fast digest. Well, I usually use
yeah.
carb as a pre-workout, like
I
for
mean, like,
something that
really,
digests
just find
fast.
what works best for you. As far as like what digests fast and what digests slow, your body will slow down digestion to the slowest absorbing thing. So, generally speaking, that's fat. Sometimes that's protein. A little
Rice
bit,
have protein?
Depends. White rice
Is it?
generally not a
Oh,
lot. Whole grain rice more for sure. Brown rice,
what's
yeah,
up? Like brown rice, all that.
for sure.
Oh,
But it's not a complete protein. Yeah.
oh yeah, probably not.
Um,
Yeah.
just make sure that like you guys feel good with your diet, like you guys feel healthy and energized. Really, that's it.
Yeah. I cut carbs for 2 weeks. I felt
Oh
it
yeah.
was a big time effect on me. My
That's
I
a
was
lot
just
of people when they go on a
shredded.
low carb diet initially. Your body has to switch to like instead of using carbohydrates as an energy source, it has to switch to ketones. Ketones are much slower produced. Generally not a great thing.
Yeah, apparently, like I think I've seen this around where if you don't eat carbs, your body will resort to
Yeah,
the
fats
ketones
get
or
turned into
fat.
fats and carbs both.
And-
Fats and proteins will both get turned into ketones.
Yeah, and then like you'll get more shredded
In
that way or
reality,
something.
it's
But
just what
the
you find sustainable. Really, weight loss in reality is a calories in, calories out game. Um,
yeah, so if you're training like let's say you eat like 500 calories, if you train like to and you burn like 600 out, then yeah,
I
you're
mean,
gonna
like
start losing weight,
600
obviously.
is a
So
lot.
yeah,
Really
it's a
weight
lot.
training doesn't burn a lot. It's 100, 200 max for like a 2 hour grueling session. Yeah, it's not a lot.
What?
There was a research paper that they had like people squat to failure for 2 hours straight, and they literally burn like 200 calories.
We're
Yeah,
talking
no, like
failure.
they
Like
would
we're
go to
talking like
failure, wait 2 minutes, go to failure
only
again. Yeah,
only 200
weight
calories.
training
Are you
really
sure
doesn't
about
burn a
that?
whole lot. Cart if
I feel like it would have a
um
crazy effect on the body though. You probably get so much more
really the
fit, so
thing with
much
weight
more
training
like
is that weight training increases your like muscle mass, and muscle mass burns a lot more calories just chilling around. So like
oh
you're I don't know, like however much you weigh, a majority of that is definitely muscle. You know, muscle and bone.
yeah.
Very
Right now
costly tissue for your body to keep
I
around.
sit,
That shit's a fucking oven.
yeah, yeah, I sit around I
Yeah.
think I sit like
You're gonna
100
be
right now.
fucking burning
Yeah.
through shit. Burning through calories, man.
I mean, during this lockdown, man, it's pretty hard to fucking just
Yeah.
get motivated to work out. I don't have a gym and no
I mean, like, if
equipment.
you're only looking for calorie burning, really cardio's where it's at. But in reality, like, if you really want like long term stuff, you really a mix of both is going to be best. And other things, a mix of both is what's going to keep you healthy. Of course, though, if you're a competitor, like if you only care about competition, making big lifts, which I completely understand, um, like then your goals are different. Then you have to curtail certain things to be able to make sure that you achieve those goals. You know?
It's true. You're not
Yeah,
going to
for
see
sure.
half Thor on a treadmill or like doing a 5K
Yeah,
like that. That wouldn't make sense at all. But like the his events, like
yeah. No,
some of them
he
are
does
pretty
cardio for sure, but
cardio.
that's because strongman needs to, because a lot of events can be pretty grueling. Um,
Yeah,
yeah. But I mean, like if you're
the
doing
hot
like a
sun.
one rep max, like on like a squat or deadlift, you don't generally need a whole lot of cardiovascular fitness for that kind of stuff. You just need to be able to rip that fucking weight off the floor.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Yeah. All right. So now we move on to let's see, bulking and cutting in
Hmm.
terms of nutrition. So we got two styles of bulking. We got the cool way. We got the clean diet bulking, and then we got take like throw
It's
all
the
the
seafood
nutrition drinks
diet.
out the window and go.
Seafood, eat food.
Yeah, dirty bulking and yeah, dirty bulking. Uh, dirty bulking for me,
You know,
I felt like
just
shit.
don't do dirty bulking. Like just don't. In reality, like I think Eric Helms had a good way of describing it. He's a researcher on this type of stuff. He was like, really, it's better to see um mm, your nutrition as sort of like a it's no, not
Like
even
a
like a
gasoline
gasoline
to
to
a
a
car.
car. It's sort of like something that's necessary, but once you have it, it doesn't really matter too much. You know, like really calories are like you need to have a certain amount, but anything above that is really just not really useful. It's I think he put it like it's more permissive rather than like causative, you know?
Damn.
And I think I agree with that. But another thing is like sustainability. Like I preach this so much to people, like people who are trying to get into fitness, stuff like that. It's just like sustainability. Whatever you do, make sure it's damn well sustainable. And in my opinion, dirty
Yeah,
bulking is not sustainable. Like you are going to hate your fucking life after like 2 weeks of like shoving pizza down your throat.
yeah. Oh, that's a good example is like yeah, sustainability long term. Think about the long term. Why the hell do you think gyms flood during
Oh
January
yeah,
and they're
for
gone
sure.
by like February?
People go
Like
way
they
too hard into things, and then they don't think about the long term of it. Like they're like, "Oh, I need to get in shape. I'm gonna work out 7 days a week, 3 hours in the gym. Like I'm going to fucking kill myself." You know?
or they just don't
Yeah,
they just
it's
don't
just like
stick
they
with it. They're
get
just like,
burned
ah,
out
whatever.
from this stuff. You know? Really, like start small and then go a little bit in at a time. Like don't like immediately start tracking every damn micronutrient. You don't need to do that. Really,
The only people that need to do that are like the top or like
Yeah,
people
like
that are prepping for shows and the top
yeah, like the
bodybuilders.
top
That's like
bodybuilders, people who are trying to lose weight
we're
and
talking
get to like 2% body fat, literally like on the edge of death. And like, I guess you can also consider some powerlifters like the really, really world class people.
did Arnold even do that? I don't even
Yeah,
think Arnold tracked his diet that hard.
yeah.
Like, right? I don't think he really
Look,
like he just trained really
the
hard.
thing
I don't even
is
think he
that
tracked that hard.
once you get nutrition to a certain point, improving it much more takes mountains of effort, and the gains that you get back from it are really negligible.
Yeah,
Like
so I guess you
in
gotta change the
reality,
way you train,
just
or
train hard, eat clean, sleep well. That's really it. That's like 80% of your 90% of your gains.
yeah, you look at someone like fucking who's a good natural
I don't
bodybuilder out
know.
there? I don't even know.
YouTubers.
Okay, it doesn't matter. We talk about like
Yeah.
someone like Dorian Yates. Okay, yeah, Dorian Yates was Mr. Olympia, but the amount of time it took for him to start gaining that muscle. Actually, no, this isn't a bad idea. He
Yeah.
was jacked when he
All
was
the
young.
Mr. Olympias were like crazy. Crazy. Like Dorian Yates as a
Yeah,
kid is like he looks like a fucking Greek statue. Although really Dorian Yates, there are stories of him like being fucking insanely precise with everything. Although to be honest, you don't need to be
yeah,
Dorian Yates, you know? Like just be healthy. Like that's really all I can say.
yeah. Yeah, it's pertaining to your goals and
Actually, yeah, that's
if they're
definitely the
realistic or not.
most important thing. Train, eat, and like play towards your goals. Your goals are what's most important, and your goals are what's going to decide what you have to do. Like,
Yeah. Why do we keep going?
yeah,
All right,
yeah,
we were talking about bulking. The fuck. All right. Fuck. All right. We were talking about dirty bulking. Okay, yeah. So yeah, I've seen people that do dirty bulking. I don't know how they feel. They tell me it's the best thing in the world that they can eat whatever the hell they want. All I can say is that I did it for a week and I
I
did
think
not
those
like it at
people
all. Like
have an unhealthy like are more likely to have an unhealthy relationship with food. Yeah, I know,
Probably
but
because they
I
love
think
it
they
though.
may like
Maybe.
it because they have permission to eat food rather than like I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. Just shoveling like
Look,
pizzas,
another thing with like dirty
tacos,
bulking is
cake.
the more you dirty bulk, the more weight you're gonna have to lose. You know?
Yeah, it's not like you gain
Yeah,
weight
it's
and like really fast too, because like
like
those are calorie dense as
you're
fuck.
going
Like
hard, like you're going really, really heavy into the calories one day, but before you know it, you're gonna be dieting and it's going to fucking suck.
yeah, and then we got on the other hand the more harder way, I
Yeah.
guess, the clean bulking. Like once you
I
get
mean,
into a
like in
habit of something, it's
reality,
really not that hard anymore.
just
Like
stick to maintenance, stick to bulking, like clean bulking. If you really care about maximum results, just stick to clean bulking. If you can't find that sustainable, like you don't like counting calories, look, I understand you. I don't count calories anymore either. I just don't care. Really, just eat clean. Just like eat healthy, generally speaking. I mean, like of course, if you guys are going out, don't be like that one weirdo who fucking brings his like Tupperware and shit. Like enjoy your life, of course, too.
yeah,
Sustainability,
get that
you
one
know.
cheat day in. Get that.
Um, I
Yeah,
mean, like other than that, like really clean bulking is pretty simple. Eat 300 to 400 calories above your maintenance, make sure you're gaining about half a pound to a pound a week, and just train hard. Yeah, half a pound to a pound a week.
half a
Yeah.
pound a week, huh? Jeez.
Yeah,
Wow.
no,
That's
you'll
like
be
all
lucky.
muscle then,
It depends
right?
on your stage
If
of
half.
training and your genetics. Like beginners, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be like 60, 70% muscle. I actually don't know these numbers, you know, like it's just like throwing numbers out there, but like, yeah, it's probably going to be a good chunk muscle. But if you're like elite, like genetic limit elite, like you'll be lucky if like 10% of that is muscle. We'd all love to gain 20 pounds and have 19 of it be muscle, but in reality, that's just not realistic.
Yeah, so that I, dude, I think when I was on creatine, I went from 190. Crap, where was
Yeah,
it? I was like 194
creatine.
to like
Some
202.
creatine, you have hyper responders.
Like I bloated. Well, I
Yeah,
don't know if I
creatine
bloated. I
makes
just
you
retained
retain
so
water
much
in your
damn
muscles, so
water.
you look more
But
jacked. It looks pretty cool.
isn't that better for
Ye-
like
really,
output too?
so
In terms
you
of
have
performance?
you know you have ATP in your muscles, ATP in every cell in your damn body. Actually, I don't know if it's yeah, it has to be every cell.
Yeah.
Um, Creatine is so creatine monohydrate gets broken down into creatine. Creatine gets turned into creatine phosphate. So once your ATP is used, ATP goes to ADP or AMP, adenosine diphosphate or monophosphate. And the creatine phosphate is there just to donate the phosphate to the ADP or ATP or AMP to recreate ATP, and it's a very very fast process. So really, it's just fast energy turnaround.
That's crazy. That's why I see a
Well,
lot of
also another
people
thing is
using
creatine's
pre-workouts
cheap
too,
as
I
fucking
guess.
hell. So pre-workouts put it in there
Yeah,
because
that's weird too.
more mass, just more weight.
All right, so that was our. All right, so second part of this podcast, we're going to be talking about specifically powerlifting and the technical aspect in executing a lift for high bar, low bar squat, bench press, sumo, or conventional traditional style deadlift. So we'll start with squat because that's the first lift in a meet. Um, generally based a, a regular a regular person will not have anything excessive like nothing like not like a
Yeah,
super long torso or a super short femur. Generally, it'll be like
yeah.
close to the same, not like same, but like yeah, I guess it is the same. But but then we got like the other people like me for example. I have short femurs and a pretty long ass torso for my height, so I favor the high bar squat like crazy because my range of motion is like up down and I'm done. And then we
I'm
got people like with
I'm definitely long femur
the
gang.
super long femurs
Yeah.
and with the short torso, and then we're talking about more forward lean and whatnot. But yeah, we'll start with high bar squat technique. So it's in the name. The bar is generally placed higher on the trap, and the high bar squat generally it'll require a more upright position to maintain that weight on your back without like you
Yeah, just
tipping
search up Lu
forward
Xiaojun
or back.
squat, and then you'll see what a high bar looks like.
Oh yeah. Michelle June, 5-time world
Oh,
champion, 2012
he
Olympic
is a
champion.
high
He's the
squat.
man.
He is a high bar squat person, dude.
Yeah. Um, what am I? Yeah. So they use
Yeah,
the lifting heels as well, which is just put you in an even crazier upright position. Because Liu
yeah,
Xiaojun has no forward lean
dude.
at all. It's like a straight
His
up
dude.
wall
Everything
of
about the
just
Chinese weightlifting team is just aesthetic. Like even the way they perform the lifts is just
yeah.
aesthetic.
Like everyone on
Yeah,
that started
they're
on that
insane.
team is like a world champion. It's crazy. But yeah, so high bar squats like in terms of well actually wait. Your foot um the way it is, it's your toes are supposed to be more spread
Yeah.
out for
I
that
mean,
good
like
surface
another
area
thing is
gains.
the angle at which
And
your femur goes out of your hip joint and also connects with your tibia fibula. That will also decide your angle, yeah, your foot angle.
yeah, obviously starting out, if you've never squatted before, master the bodyweight squat before you even put a bar on your
Yeah.
back because that's generally a lot better because you don't want to go into problems with because it when you first start squatting and you had no background in working out at all,
Oh yeah,
you have to address like
mobility is
other things like
huge in
ankle
the
mobility,
squat for
hip
sure,
mobility.
especially high bar. I generally find that low bar you don't need as much mobility, but high bar I feel like you definitely need more.
Uh, well, high bar in terms of
Yeah.
getting into like a deeper squat, but like low bar, in terms of upper body mobility, like getting into that tight position, getting that bar on your rear delt.
I mean, like,
it's pretty
I
hard on the
haven't.
shoulders.
I used to low bar squat a lot. I haven't really been doing it recently. It hurts quite a bit in the beginning, but you get pretty used to it after, I don't know, a few weeks of it. It feels pretty good.
Yeah, generally, based on Squat University, that's a really good
Yeah.
source for any sort of lifting technique. We they use I think they call it the tripod foot, which is right under your big toe and your pinky toe and your heel, and you base all your pressure around those 3 points. You're gonna have a pretty good
Yeah, I
squat
see a
because you don't
lot of
want to
people
lean
giving the
too far
cue
back,
that
too
you
far
really want to
forward.
be on the heel of your foot when it comes to squatting. I mean, like, I don't really think that that's necessarily a good thing. Like,
I used to do that
in
too. It worked for
reality,
me
like,
for
the
a
most
while,
stable
but
and best position is like when you evenly distribute the weight across like your foot. Although not really across your toes too much, but you just want even pressure generally.
yeah. And with we society now, the shoes that we wear, they jam our toes together.
Pretty
Like if you
splayed
see a
out,
normal
yeah.
human foot, it's like no space,
Yeah.
no space in between those toes. It's like tight. But if we see like a human from like the fucking Stone Age, it's like it is splayed out. We're running everywhere. Like we like the toes have their own
I'm very
individual like
careful to say
muscles. Like
that the things that we did 100, 200 years ago were necessarily better. I think shoes have definitely bettered our performance across everything. Running, squatting, I don't know, jumping. They've generally been doing that. You don't see people running a 4 minute mile 150 years ago, you know? You don't see people
I
running a sub 2 hour marathon. Um, I think shoes are very, very based on personal preference, and really it's hugely personal what type of shoes you're gonna like. Because everybody's body's a little bit different.
oh, but shoot, I think this is universal in
Oh,
lifting
yes,
though.
yes, yes.
You
Don't
don't
wear
want
cushion,
cushion
please.
when you're lifting.
Oh, dude,
Yeah,
I've
don't wear
seen
like
too
the
many
freaking Nike
accidents with
running
newbies
shoe. Like
squatting, dude. Oh my gosh, like they're wearing Ultra Boost, dude. They go down into like the bottom of a squat position. Oh, dude.
you want
Also, another thing is
response. You want like
safety.
right power, right out. You want to put a
Yeah,
yeah, it's safe. Yeah,
you
it's not
you
safe
don't
as
want your
fuck.
feet wobbling
And
around when you have a few
shoot.
100 pounds on your back.
Also, I'm not so sure if it's a good
Oh
idea to
yeah,
squat with
don't
a
squat with
safety
safety
pad too.
pads. No, just don't do it. In
Yeah,
my
I
opinion,
don't.
like safety
Yeah, I
pads,
don't
the
think that's
only
good for
real
you at
use for
all.
them is like hip thrusts. And like even hip thrusts, like
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
I
not sure I
know
would
that too.
terribly recommend it.
Okay, so on the squat, we have something called forward knee displacement.
Isn't it just when your knee goes
You familiar
above,
with
like
that?
in front of your toes? I honestly not too familiar with the terminology.
Or just it's just when your knee travels forward. It doesn't
Okay,
have to be like just
yeah.
any degree of like the forward knee displacement. There's this big controversy on whether
Oh, it in
your
reality it
knee
doesn't really
can travel
matter.
past your toe.
Um,
Yeah, we've seen a lot of athletes
yeah.
that their knees don't move at all, and they have like an insane squat. Athletes that their knees are like a mile
Yeah.
in front of their toes, and they're like
Um, I
insanely strong.
really it won't matter too much as far as like the health of your knee joints. Like there is papers really the worry about it came from a few research papers that pointed towards shear forces on the knee increasing, and it increases quite heavily when your knees track in front of your toes. But in reality, the knee forces won't actually do anything bad to your body in the long term. Like look at the Olympic weightlifters, right? Like when they're in like the bottom of a snatch position, like their knees are going, their knees are in another fucking country, dude. But well, yeah,
Well, unless you're Lou, his never travels forward. It's only they're always like in stable position. It's weird, man. It's crazy. But yeah, most lifters when they especially
or
lifters
like the Russian
that
style
like
of
the stomp,
weightlifting.
like they like the yeah, they like to freaking
Re-
just fucking just give the ground some hell. They
Really,
usually
it's
then
not a
their knees will
stomp.
travel
The
pretty
the
far
point of the
forward.
Russian weightlifting system or like the Russian weightlifting form was just to be able to drop and get below the bar as fast as humanly possible. And when you do that, really the best way to do that is to like pull the bar upwards while you have nothing supporting you below. So you just remove the legs.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
that just creates the slap
Although
sound, I guess.
a lot of weightlifting coaches nowadays use the term just jump. In reality, that's not really the best thing to do, but it's really the only way you can describe what the Russian weightlifting system was trying to teach their kids.
Yeah. So back to squats, we have our low bar squats. Generally, this is placed near the rear delts.
It's supposed to be sitting on top of your rear delts, although some people have it a little bit lower, some people have it a little bit higher.
And generally,
it's also another thing. The reason why a lot of lifters squat more of this type of style is because you focus a lot more of the poundage instead of on your quads and on your leg musculature. It's a lot more on your posterior chain, so you just have more muscle to be able to put into it.
You're obviously gonna have a more forward lean. There's more power from the glutes. Yeah, obviously your posterior chain and all that. And it's a different sequence as well, because usually people their high bar squat is it's like sumo conventional kind of. The usually the sumo's higher, but then we got freaks that squat high bar like way more than they can ever squat low bar just based on.
I'm definitely one of those people who pull conventional squat sumo. Oh, sorry. I pull conventional squat low bar. I'm thinking about deadlift still. What? Yeah. Generally speaking, when I squat low bar, I feel it a lot, my posterior chain, but of you should still feel it in your legs.
Yeah, well, anytime you bend your knees, your quads are engaged, I would imagine. Yeah, so, but in terms of technique, let's see. There's you should also practice, getting the position under the bar. That's important. Getting the tight back muscles, making sure your back is straight during the whole movement. As soon as you start that movement, your back should not, like, it should stay locked. Whatever back position
there is
that
some
you put it
debate
in,
nowadays
down,
where there is some research coming out that's saying butt wink may not be as bad as we previously thought. But that's really only like the very bottom of a squat.
Oh, yeah. Butt wink?
Yeah.
Isn't butt wink? Butt wink
you can fix it, yeah.
Good mobility, right? I used to have butt wink too. It went away.
In reality, the best way to get better at squatting and the best way to get better at squatting form is just to squat more. You know, your body will get better at the movement patterns. Actually, it's the same thing with running too, where it's a lot of people who, when they start running, their form is generally pretty bad, but as they run more and more, their form gets better and better. It's not because like they're like actively trying to make a better running form. It's more or less that running form is just more efficient, so their body just starts resorting to it. Same thing with powerlifting.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see. So powerlifting depth, you would want your hip.
Wait, no, it's hip crease below the knee joint. Yeah.
Oh yeah, hip crease below the knee joint. Yeah, my bad. Yeah. So yeah, obviously that's probably why powerlifting has a million federations. One federation can't agree on rules and whatnot.
I feel like
it's a lot different.
Sorry, on a different note, I feel like squat depth is sort of like pressing out in Olympic weightlifting, where it's just like, oh, that squat didn't look too pretty, and the judges are just like, I don't know what's about that thing, but I'm gonna call it out on squat depth.
Yeah, well, squat depth is like,
I mean, like it's important, but just make sure that you're hitting proper depth, of course. No quarter squatting.
Yeah, so in general, let's see. See, back tight. The back tight, you can get this kind of position by driving your elbows forward. Get the lats tight. Um, as soon as you start to go down, breaking at the knees
Mm-hmm.
and the hips at the same time for a beginner, I would imagine. You don't want to break too far with the knees first or the hips first. Generally, you
Yep.
want to break them both at the same time. Yeah, back straight. You go down. Yeah, pressure evenly distributed. Don't push from the toes. Don't push from the heels too like excessively. If you push from the heels too excessively, you probably fall back. If you push
You
from
might
the
get
toes too hard, you're
guillotined.
gonna put a shit ton of pressure on your knees. That's not fun.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I'd much
Or
rather
yeah,
have the
you'll
bar
fall
fall
forward
back
too.
than
That's
fall
not fun.
forward. You could just hop forward.
Yeah, well, it's easier because you know how to like bail. Yeah, bailing forward on the squat is pretty
Yeah.
generally easy, unless you have bad shoulder mobility. I don't know, but okay. Moving on, we got bench press. Now, bench press in powerlifting has obviously been clowned at because we
The
have big
Japanese
arches.
powerlifters,
But
dude.
hey, man, it's allowed, so fuck it.
Seen, seen them get into an arch, dude.
Oh
They
my
literally
god, they
moved the
have the
bar like
craziest.
2 inches. That's crazy. I mean, like,
It's allowed though.
just get whatever advantage
People
you can
want to
get.
hate,
If it's in the
but
rules, it's
like
in the
fuck
rules.
them.
Use the rules to your
Yeah,
advantage.
man, it's in the rules, man. Especially if you got
Oof.
that extreme T spine mobility, just fucking get that arch, man. Just as long as your ass is still touching the bench, you're chilling. Bench 700 with like a half a millimeter of range of motion. It still counts, man. Three whites.
I think one good thing to note is leg drive is hugely important on the bench, and I don't see a lot of people in the beginning really using a lot of leg drive. Uh,
Yeah, that's true. Well, obviously this could pertain to different goals because
maximum.
obviously bodybuilding you want to
Yeah.
get a good contraction,
Another like a thing
so you
with
want a
leg drive,
good
like
range of motion.
if you guys want to practice it, a thing that I found incredibly useful is instead of trying to like push yourself with the legs, just try on contracting your quads uh on the push upwards. Like I generally find that makes my bench a lot better, and it made my leg drive a lot better. Yeah,
Or pushing back, you know, because
it should not be straight. Yeah,
the bar path for a bench should not be
yeah,
straight. It shouldn't be straight. It should be going back. Like that's the more advantageous position based on where your shoulders are and
yeah.
when your scaps are nice and locked. It protects the shoulder. Like people hate on like
That
people
that
will
won't
tell me
matter.
like don't arch because it'll hurt your back. No, no. Maybe an extreme arch like a higher like a crazy arch for your body type.
Yeah,
Like
really, you just
arch
don't
is
want your
supposed to be good for
shoulders
your shoulders.
flopping around with that weight. You just want to make sure that they're locked. And I think that arching your back
Yeah,
generally helps with that.
but then we got people like what's a good example of a nice arch? Plug the Goat, Richard Cho, right? I think that's his name, Richard Cho. He has an insane arch. Um, he's like I think he's
Ooh.
74 kg, second at nationals. I forgot, but yeah, he's really strong. He gets a lot of shit on his Instagram for his bench, but hey, man, I'm not a hater. He's making good use of those rules, taking advantage.
I'm trying to find the Japanese lifter. Like he
Are you
literally
looking him up?
presses his fucking face into the bench while he's like setting up for it. It's like that thing was nasty, dude. Like it looked like he
Oh
was
my
trying to
god, yeah, it's
snap
like
his
a
neck when he was trying to get into position. Yeah, honestly though, when you think about it, right? Who the hell needs sniffing chalk when you just snap your neck?
yeah. And then let's see what else. Check this out. Oh, yes, wrist stacked on top of the elbow. There's also arguments on whether your wrist should be bent
Yeah,
or not.
really.
I think a bent back wrist is good.
Oh yeah, no,
A,
like
a
it shouldn't.
completely straight
Personally,
wrist,
I
I don't know.
have a
I don't.
slight bend back, but just make sure that I generally just don't like it having like completely flat, like you just not contracting anything there. That's just painful.
Yeah, yeah. Well, obviously, yeah, yeah. What obviously we have like supportive gear. We got like wrist wraps, bench shirts now.
Actually, funnily
You're
enough,
gonna
like
go
the
and
West
equip
Side
the bench
style of
press.
bench press didn't really focus a whole ton on the actual pec muscles because they were benching equipped. And if I remember correctly, if you're in like one of those bench suits, it's much more tricep dominant.
I have no idea, but yeah, when you're using a bench shirt, you have you can generally when I see a quick bench presses, the bar can travel a lot more forward onto the stomach. Like I'll see coaches yelling stomach, stomach, stomach when as they're going down. So
Yeah,
the technique changes a lot when
truth
you're
be
wearing a
told, I don't know
shirt
too much
because
about equip lifting because I don't follow
support.
it and I don't do too much of it. I don't do really any of it.
Yeah, usually when people don't know about it, they shit on it. That's how
Dude,
powerlifting
yeah,
grew.
I mean, like,
It started with
I
equip
think the
lifting.
thing with, I think, okay, so personally speaking, when I started getting into powerlifting, one of the things that was very off-putting for me was sort of like the West Side culture of it, and I think that that prevents a lot of people from really falling in love with the sport.
I mean, well, like that's just the media though, because like who the hell's gonna ever enter like like out of 100
Yeah,
powerlifters
I
that
think
start
it's mainly
powerlifting,
just the media
how
portrayal
many
of
of them
it.
are gonna enter
That's
West
really
Side?
it. And once I got more into powerlifting, I realized that a lot of people are just like pretty chill, nice, really great people. But
I mean, West Side was a different culture. Like West Side, they produced the best lifters, but holy fuck, man!
I mean, like,
Like
it's just
the
like one of
like
those
just the
things where it's like
atmosphere in there. Holy
the
crap,
media
dude!
tends to portray powerlifting as sort of like these like gym rats holed up in like some grungy you know, like some grungy ass gym, like listening to like heavy metal while like lifting, you know. And that's just that's not truly
Yeah.
representative of what powerlifting is. And in my opinion, that's a shame because I think it's pretty off-putting for a lot of people.
I mean, well, West Side was basically the
What?
truth
Yeah.
though. Like, cause like there's a Netflix documentary, West Side versus the World. Um, Powerlifting fans, go check it out if you haven't watched it. It's really good. Talks about the like when basically equipped lifting made me want
Ronnie
to get into a
Coleman once
squat
said
suit
that the worst
or
thing
whatnot.
about I think it
But
was
yeah,
800 pound
they
squat, the double. Yeah, the worst thing about that squat was getting the suit on.
oh yeah, he had the suit on. Yeah, yeah. He had a single ply suit though. Yeah, it wasn't a multi ply suit, but he had a single ply Inzer suit. Yeah,
Yeah.
he buried 800 for 2 reps on that. It's crazy. But yeah, okay. We were going back to bench press. Okay, yeah,
Uh,
we were talking about equipped
there's a
bench.
huge
That's
debate
basically
about
it for
width
bench press. There's not much I can.
grip width.
Oh yeah, bar place. Yeah, grip width and whatnot. I I had a really bad shoulder injury back when I was a wrestler. So I favor the really narrow grip
Hmm.
to protect my shoulders even more. I use a more tricep dominant bench,
Yeah, I used to do
like
a very
pec
wide
dominant
grip, but I
bench
feel like I
to
felt that I
protect my
was just
shoulders more.
stronger and it felt more natural if I did a closer grip. Um, I do have longer arms, so take that as it is.
Yeah, you made it hard for yourself, right?
Yeah.
All right. Now this is probably even bigger controversy.
Some people are like,
Sumo
sumo's
lift
cheating.
versus
No,
conventional
conventional's cheating. I'm like, am I just cheating if I do both? Yeah, some people say conventional is cheating.
Do people say
I don't
conventional is
know.
cheating?
Apparently, people find it a lot easier. Like, I don't know. Personally, I
How is
find
that?
conventional so much easier than sumo. Like, my conventional is like a good solid
Oh yeah, well,
20,
sumo is a lot
30
more technical.
percent better than my conventional. It's very yeah, my conventional is 20, 30% better than my sumo always. I'm just
I'm a very leg dominant lifter, like quad dominant. So when I get into the sumo position, I can drive the weight
yeah, no.
a
Generally
lot better
speaking, I'm a
than when
very
I'm in a
very
sumo
posterior chain
conventional
dominant
position.
puller. So I guess that's a thing.
Yeah, it's based on personal preference as well. But then we got someone like a Kayla Woolham or Yuri Belkin, where their sumo
Long
deadlifts
ass
look like
arms,
they barely left the ground.
short legs,
Um,
yo.
just boom, they just comes off the ground. The weights are still touching
I
the
can
ground,
imagine
the
that, just
bar, and
pulling
it's
like
like
10,000 pounds, and just the weight doesn't leave the floor. Just like three white lights.
it's just the fucking bar just bending.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
There's something called like
You have
bar.
deadlift bars.
That?
Deadlift bars are thinner and longer.
Yeah.
That way you get better whip. Really, you have to find out what
Oh yeah, I love
what
deadlift
you're
bars.
competing with. Whatever you're competing with, lift with that. Like if what you're competing with doesn't use a deadlift bar, don't use a deadlift bar. And I guess another thing is like if you have fun with a deadlift bar, then go ahead, use a deadlift bar.
I mean, honestly, I compete for RPS. I haven't competed in a meet yet, but they use deadlift bars.
Stiff bar would definitely
it's
make
very
you
beneficial to try
stronger
the
for
stiff
sure.
bar.
But
A
huge thing is like it's a different movement too.
Yeah, because once you
like
because the weight.
Yeah, by the time the weight actually breaks the floor, you're in a much higher position.
Yeah, that's what. Sometimes it's off-putting to lifters. They'll lose the weight forward, but
I think a good thing to see is the strongman deadlifts when they do like the elephant. I think it's called is it the elephant bar deadlifts?
Yeah, they have to modify it because these.
Oh no, the elephant bar deadlift is more similar to a conventional deadlift bar. It is still a deadlift bar, but it's not the same as like the tire deadlift, for example, right? The tire deadlift, the weight is much farther on the edges, so you get much better whip just because it's a longer lever, you know. They use a much longer bar than the elephant bar. The elephant bar is already long, and it's considered like much more like a standard deadlift bar. But as far as strongman is concerned, I'd like to see that the elephant bar is more similar to is more analogous to a stiff bar, and the tire deadlift is more analogous to a deadlift bar. If you actually look at the tire deadlift, you see that they lift much heavier weights. Like, yeah, because the bar just bends more.
I mean, the range of motion is a lot less, though.
Don't they usually stand on a platform?
I mean,
if I remember correctly, they usually start from around the same position. Oh, maybe not then.
They have a platform, but I don't know.
It's still the same idea where, generally speaking, it's much easier to lift heavier weight because you have more bar whip and you're starting from a smaller range of motion. Another thing is like, if you look at the USAPL, I think IPF, IPF, generally uses I think they're power bars. I want to say they're power bars, just normal stiff bars, you know? Yeah. Yeah, if you look at the IPF worlds, you see that they're using like really thin Eleiko steel plates along with like a really stiff Eleiko stiff bar, like an Eleiko power bar, and that thing just doesn't bend. That thing just doesn't whip a lot.
Yeah, it's just doesn't bend at all. Your back is more likely to bend with the fucking bar. Like you're more likely to round with it. Yeah, so let's see the technique for deadlift. I don't know how to explain much of this because so many things can go wrong with this if you. Let's see. One thing to keep in mind: neutral back, nothing crazy. Like, especially if you're a beginner, you don't want to test out the upper back grounding yet. Just nice neutral straight back. I guess if you want to do a mixed grip first, because we have hook grip, mixed grip, that becomes an issue too.
Oh yeah.
Most people use mixed grip. Hook grip is generally a lot more fucking painful, but yeah, straight back. Let's see. when you deadlift the bar, you don't want the hips to rise too early. Keep the bar close to you. Don't let it drift too far forward. More pressure on the lower back. And when you're at the top, get a nice squeeze at the glutes. Stand tall. Arms are straight.
Ooh,
Traction
dude, that's
shouldn't flex. You don't
fucking
want to use your
nasty
bicep
when they
tendon.
tear
You don't
those
want to tear that
things.
shit.
Whew.
Yeah, it's
Ooh, dude,
not nice to see.
that's
Especially when it
that's
separates
ridiculous.
from the when it
I think Jay Cutler once had a torn bicep at one of his shows. I think it was. And that shit looks fucking nasty.
I saw this guy. He was deadlifting. I don't even know how much, but he was using a mixed grip, and as the weight was coming up, his bicep just ripped off the bone or tendon, whatever the fuck, and it knotted towards his shoulder. And he didn't even know. He completed the rep, and the ref gave him the down signal. He put it down. He was all hyped, and then he looked at his arm. He's like, "What the fuck?"
That's a surgery right there.
Yeah, that's a long recovery, man.
It's bone, yeah.
Is it the bone? I don't even know. Oh yeah, so he has to reattach that to the bone. But yeah, so you want your arms to be like hooks. It's like a
You just want them to be like steel pipes.
Not forklift.
Don't bend them.
Is it a forklift?
Yeah.
Yeah, don't bend them. Don't let them be too relaxed either. Just like tight. Just pull it off the ground.
Yeah, make sure you like contract your lats. Make sure they're stiff.
Yeah, it's
your
like
back is stiff.
Pattern. Yeah. Yep. Is that the end of the podcast? I guess we'll close it out. So that's the end of our nutrition and powerlifting technique podcast. We'll check you guys later.
All right, yeah.
See you.